welcome to Kitchen Basics 101, where I teach you the bare bone basics as if you have never cooked a day in your life from the perspective of a mom. It's kind of nostalgic. This is one of the first recipes that I ever posted as Kitchen Basics 101 when I started the series, and it's almost on its year anniversary. I think it was October 20th last year. If you've ever seen these in the grocery store and you were intimidated by them, you might have seen them more green. These ripened because they've been at the house for a couple days and they've turned a little bit yellow. You can see here acorn squash, similar to a butternut squash, maybe a little bit more like a pumpkin. It's sort of in between a butternut squash and a pumpkin. It's delicious. We're going to do it roasted. You can do it savory. I'm going to do my sweet preparation because it's my favorite. But obviously, like always, I'll talk about other options. So I know for most people, the most intimidating part is like cutting it open. So what I usually do is I cut the top off. Okay, so with a nice chef's knife. Like that. The stem off. This little stem section off. And then I sit it on, you can see what the flesh looks like, and I set it on its flat side so that I can cut it in half. Okay, and I'm using my heavy chef's knife, which I use for basically everything. And we're going to come down the middle, and it does take a good amount of pressure, like a pumpkin. And you can see, why is it I can never find the middle? Look at the difference. Do a better job of splitting it down the middle than I did. See if I can redeem myself with the second one. Okay, let's cut the stem off first. And sometimes if it's too tough, turn it around. See how I'm like turning it around? There we go. Flat side. I mean, it looks like the middle when I start up here. Let's see. Let's see if I redeem myself. I mean, it's better, but it's still not great. It's all right. You know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to taste delicious. You can use whatever you want to dig the seeds out. I have these grapefruit spoons that have like little serrated edges, and they do an excellent job of cutting through the fibers that hold these seeds in. Yes, you can roast these seeds if you want to eat them. I don't like them as much as pumpkin seeds, and it is a little bit of work, so I'm not going to do that with these, but you're more than welcome to do that. And I'm not a gardener. I don't know, but I imagine you could save the seeds and plant yourself some acorn squash for next season, right? But we're just going to clean out the inside of the seeds just like you would do with a pumpkin. Okay, you can use like a 13x9 baking dish or any type of vessel that you want in your oven. This is a extra large cookie sheet, which I always have pinned for you because I love it. It's my favorite tool. And I just have parchment on here. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of water under each one of these as I set them skin side down, face down, for the first 30 minutes of this. Now, the first time I made this, a lot of people said, how much water? It doesn't matter. It's just, first of all, there'll be a little steam in the oven because there'll be all this extra water sitting on here. And also, it's going to help to tender up our flesh. So I used a cup, but I just did that for you guys. It honestly does not matter. You just want to make sure there is some water trapped underneath each of these so that they become like little steam vessels, and they're going to steam in their own little tops. So I'm going to put them in a 400-degree oven for like 30 minutes, and then I'm going to check on them. I've never had ones that turned quite this orange. Can you see all the water is soaked up? There's no water left, right? So it all evaporated and steamed, and it's all in here. They're so soft and so tender, but they're not ready quite yet. We're going to flip them over on their backs, like so. Carefully, they're hot. Then I'm going to fill each cavity with like a tablespoon of butter. There's just no such thing as too much butter in my world. So a good chunk of butter. Oop, drop some butter in each one. This one's pretty big, so I'm going to put a little more in that one. You can do them savory. You can do them salt, pepper, garlic. You can, stuff them with meatballs. There's so much you can do, but we're going to do a classic preparation, right? So they've got butter, and then put a heaping tablespoon of brown sugar in the cavity of each one. And then we're just going to pop this back in the oven for like 20-ish minutes. This is going to get all caramelized. Oh, it's just like the most decadently delicious autumn thing ever. Here's the molten sugar lava and the roasted squash. That one leaked a little bit. That's okay. To taste for you and not die. It is really scorching, ridiculously hot. But I just want to show you that I'm literally scooping it right out of the flesh with a spoon. I eat it out of these little bowls. They're basically in their own little bowls. You do not eat the skin. It's so hot. So hot. Okay, but it's the taste of fall. I mean, it's still like 80 degrees here in Vegas, but something about it just screams fall. Unlike the butternut, I feel like the acorn squash has just a little bit of like a nuttier, which is funny because it's called acorn squash, right? But it has a nuttier flavor than butternut squash, in my opinion. I feel like butternut squash leans a little bit like sweet potato. Acorn squash leans more into like, I mean, it's still squash, but it's got just a delicious, nutty flavor. I can't really describe it. It's so good. It's mild, and it's not like a super strong flavor. So good. And it's so easy. I didn't even sit down. I ate the whole thing. So delicious.